guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm going to be showing you step by step how to paint this pretty little fantasy painting today. And I'm working on a 9x12 black primed canvas. Oh, let's go over the colors. I've got neon pink, phthalo blue, ultramarine blue, sap green, neon yellow, turquoise, and titanium white. I'm going to be using this large filbert blending brush, and it's a number 30. And I'm going to begin by taking a little bit of water, some white, and phthalo blue. And I'm going to start working on the background. Creating soft brush strokes back and forth, crisscross if you like, however you want to cover this up. Okay, and then I'm going to take a little bit more of my phthalo this time and less white. And I'm going to bring it over here to the far right side. And a little bit more down on the bottom with just a little bit of turquoise now. I'm going to go right down here, back and forth, bringing it up just a little bit like this. And then I'm going to wash my brush off. We'll switch over to another one. Let's take a filbert brush. Now this one is a number 12, I believe. Just going to get it a little bit wet, and then I'm going to take a little bit of turquoise, and there's just a little hint of that phthalo blue in there, and white. And I'm going to lighten this area up in here. This is where we want to draw our eyes in to the center of this painting. And I'm just going to soften, add a little bit more. So we want this area to be brighter. A little bit of yellow. Let's add a little bit of yellow here and see. Get a few different tones going on in the sky. And even a little bit more white. So I'm going to add that there. Leave this here for a second and switch over to one of my very soft mop brushes. This is a larger one. I'm not going to get it wet. I'm just going to very lightly start softening all these harsh edges up. You know, those brush strokes that we don't like to see that make it look a little bit too rough around the edges, literally, and a little bit too streaky. So this is a good way of doing that. Now this brush is leaving a few hairs behind, so this one might have to go into the recycling bin soon, and I'll have to get a new one. Anyhow, you can see how this is quite different now. It's a lot softer. Now I'm going to dry this off a little bit with my hair dryer, and then I'm going to build up some more layers. Alright, all dry. Now I'm going to come in, my brush is still wet and has a little bit of the light blue color mixture that we have here. If you hear any crunching going on in the background of this video, it's Tilly having her lunch right now. And I'm going to just kind of squish my brush like this, guys, and tap into the white. And I'm going to just start pushing and doing circles. I'm a fast painter, you guys know that, so I'm going to try to do this a little bit slower for you so you can see what I'm doing with my brush. And then I'm going to make a few smaller ones down here. I'm going to add a little bit more white to my brush. And I'm going to begin pushing up, small circles, coming back down, and start making these a little bit smaller, creating some perspective. Now, what's nice is to tint your white when making clouds. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to add a little bit of neon pink and a little bit of neon yellow. I'm going to be generous with the white because I know this is going to dry a little bit darker. So I'm just going to layer over here. And build up right about here. Maybe we'll sneak one more right up in here. And then a few little ones. I want to create a little bit of perspective here. A little bit like this. I'm going to wash my brush off now. And I'm just going to soften with this clean filbert brush. This is where you can sort of make your painting. That looks like a little crab. You can make your clouds a little bit more whimsical by creating little swirls like this, or even come around here. It's really fun to do this. I love to play around with clouds. So something kind of like this. And then, you know, we're going to have a moon right here. I keep having this kind of vision. Not that I have visions, I'm not saying that, but I get creative images that kind of just pop into my head. And I think that's just a creative person thing. Let me know if you guys do the same thing. And if I don't act on it and put the pictures I've got in my head onto canvas right away, they kind of just start to disappear and then I forget about them. So this one kind of really spoke to me, and it's been the last couple days and I haven't forgotten about it. So I really wanted to add this here for you guys. I know you guys are really enjoying fantasy like I do, so I want to share this with you so you can enjoy it too. And that's what life's about, right? That's a nice thing when you enjoy something and you can share it with other people. It makes it even more enjoyable. Okay, so I think it looks pretty cool like that. I like it even just like this. But I want to start adding a little bit of mountain range, maybe off in the distance. So I'm just taking this pinky, peachy mixture, a little touch of turquoise and a little bit of white. And I'm just going to go simple little triangle tops. Anybody can do this. You don't have to be a super fantastic, experienced painter. Go up and then down on a slant, and then this one on this side. And I always like to have one side of my mountains darker in shadow. Just gonna add a little bit more up here. So I'm going to come in now with a little bit of that peachy pink mixture and a little bit more white. I'm going to just steady my finger right here and very lightly pull and flick like that, and then down from this side. And you can add as many as you want. I think we're going to have a little waterfall or river flowing here, and then it's going to drop down. How does that sound, guys? And I'm going to take a little bit of turquoise phthalo, and I'm going to line my brush up at the peak right here, and then pull and flick off down the other side. Now if you can, try to do one side more over, like you don't want to split your mountains 50-50. It looks a little bit more interesting if you can pull either your shadow side over more like this, so we see more of this and less of the highlight one, and here we're going to see more of the highlight side. I'm just going to wash my brush off, dry it off, and it's still a little bit damp, so I can soften down here on the bottom because these are far away. We don't want to see too many brush strokes, right? When things are far away, you want them to be softer looking. Now I'm going to take a little bit of white, a little bit of my neon yellow. Let's grab a little bit of that pink again. Get a little bit on the tip of my brush here, and I'm going to carefully pull in another little highlight here. I'll line it up right here where it meets the shadow side. Okay, I'm going to get my brush a little bit wet, take some of my phthalo blue, and I'm just going to begin pulling and flicking like this. Some little trees, and then I'm going to make them curve over, and then I'm going to start tapping. So this velvet brush is taking me really far. I've only used this and one other brush so far. As I get further up here in the distance, I'm going to lighten my color by adding a little bit of turquoise to it, and then have it just sort of disappear. Let's pick up a little bit more of that phthalo now and bring it up on the side. So tap, 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 and then pull and sweep. Tap in some little tree branches here. I think this tree is going to be different, so I'm not going to tap at the seam. I want to take a little bit of my cobalt or ultramarine blue now. Actually, I think this one is actually ultramarine blue. Okay, and just tap that in, and then come around the side here, pull in a little bit of that ultramarine blue again. Add a little bit of a shadow in here. Make this just a little bit. Now with a clean, dryish sort of damp just from washing it out. Something like that, just for a little bit more definition, and then pull and sweep. Now I want to pick up a little bit of my turquoise, still using this same brush. And I'm going to add it there. Come over with just a little bit of white. And just kind of do a really small scoop side to side. Making it wider as it gets closer to us here. I'm also going to take a little bit more turquoise and white. And then I'm going to add some little highlights. Right here, more turquoise now. A bit in here as well. And these will be kind of just draping off of the edge, whatever's going on this side. Okay, I'm going to switch my brush now so I can create a waterfall. And we could do it with a filbert brush, but I think it'll turn out better with, let's try with a little mini fan brush first. Or, let's see, I've got a few different sizes here. So the width here, this is when you want to decide how wide you want your waterfall to be. So I think I want mine to be about this wide. Yeah, so I'm going to just set that one to the side there in case I want to add, if I get a little carried away and want to add some waterfalls somewhere else. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to get my brush a little bit wet so I'm able to flow that paint out easily. I'm going to take a little bit of my blues and my turquoise. Ah, whoops. Let's try that again. A little bit of water, a little bit more turquoise there. Okay, so I'm going to start from here, come right down, pull to the center, and then drop. And then another one right about there. If you want, you can have a few ones on the side like this, just by using the corner of your brush. I'm now going to take some white, pull into it, so I've got a little bit here on the tip of my brush, do a few little lines like that, and pull and drop. Like that. I'm going to go back to my filbert here and dust off the bottom. Tap around like this. And let's add a little bit more here with the filbert. And then pull and sweep side to side. Now I'm going to come in with my mini one and add a little bit more of turquoise and white. Do a little bit of a spray, a little bit of foam down here at the bottom. And I'm going to continue using this brush. I'm going to pull in to my sap green and my yellow and a little bit of phthalo. And I think I want to start adding some little lily pads, water lilies. So I'm just sliding my brush and making like a really long exaggerated C. It goes in backwards. So a few little lily pads like this to make them look like they're right on top of that water. You want to make them look flat, right? So just little lines and scoops very close together. Let's take a little bit of water, or white and yellow, and we'll make some of these brighter. We want to have a balance of lighter ones and other ones that are more in shadow. Okay. Now I want to start adding a few branches over here on this tree. I'm going to go to my favorite liner brush. It's a longer one, but you can use any liner brush that you feel comfortable with. I'm going to pull into my phthalo blue and my ultramarine blue. Water, rolling and twisting the brush around to get it nicely loaded. And I'm going to pull, need a bit more water. You can see how that just stopped. Most people, when they get to that point, they think they need to push harder with their brush. Big mistake. You don't want to do that unless you want really thick branches. But the thicker branches need to be down here. So you can see I'm using more pressure where I want it to be thicker. And then you want to let off to create those little wispy baby branches. And I'm going to bring it right over. Right over like that. Make that a little bit darker. Just using my ultramarine blue. And then I can add a few little shadows in here using this pretty blue. Remember guys, don't go straight to black when you want something to be dark. You definitely can. It's not against the law or anything. But just look how much prettier this is. Would you rather use color than black? And if you really do love black, just change it a little bit, tone it a little bit with another color. Okay, so I think I want to add a few little tops to this tree, and I haven't used this brush in a while. This is Oval Mop by Princeton, and it's 1 inch. This is a nice one and it's fun. I'm gonna take my light ultramarine blue. I almost said light ultramarine blue because I do use that one lots. It's the same as my light blue violet. So here I'm making a purpley color by blending the two, neon pink and ultramarine blue together. So just tapping, so I get that puffy end to my brush still, and I'm going to start tapping, tap, 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 all across here. I'm going to leave some spaces so I can see that pretty moonlight. And a little bit more of the pink this time. Maybe it's hanging right down here. And then I'm going to turn my brush. Pick up more pink now. And just do this very lightly and gradually. And we still have that hint, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but that hint of peach in there, and it looks so pretty with this neon pink. And I know this is going to dry a little bit darker, so I'm going to lightly tap this over top of this darker area here. And I think I want to add some right in here too. Again, I'm using all my favorite colors. You can probably just hear it in my voice too, how content I am. Color just does that. It just makes me so happy. It's therapeutic. It can help your mood if you're, you know, in a rotten mood or if something's getting you down. Just use some pretty colors and just start tapping around on a canvas or whatever surface you want to paint on. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of white. That was a lot. Let's pull in some more of that pink now to balance that out. And I'm just going to add like just the tiniest bit here. A little bit like that. You can come right over top. Okay, I'm going to wash that brush out now. And I think I want to do, yeah, I'm going to do a little highlight on this tree trunk. So I'm going to take white with a little bit of that blue mixture over here. And let's see how, if this shows up. Yeah, that shows up. You don't have to do every single branch, but you can get a couple in here. And if you want to make your tree trunk look a little twisty, like I like to do, just pull and sweep and turn. And we can add a few little stars in here. I'm just going to tap like this, soften with my finger, and pull, 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 little flicks. You're going to want a really fine liner brush for this. Otherwise you're going to get frustrated because you won't be able to get these little flicks and lines that you want. They'll end up being too thick. So you want to make sure you're twisting when you're rolling your brush into the paint, twisting so you get a nice fine tip to your brush. And you can make them look as sparkly as you want. And I'm going to come in with a little bit of white and yellow. A little bit on the tip of my brush here. Try to. And dab, dab. And they look like soft, pretty twinkling stars. I'm going to go right on the outside of the moon here. And then I'm going to add, steady my finger here, and add straight up and down. Some little tiny stars, just like that. I'm going to get that yellow and white again, a little bit more yellow to it. And I think we need to add some water lilies, little flowers to our lily pads here. What do you guys think? One or two anyways. Let's take the same brush, I just washed it off, white, yellow, and pink. Got a scoop of each one here. And I'll do one little pull like this for each petal, And then I'm going to pull a little stem down like that. Then I'll come in with some more white. And you can layer them as much as you want. Again, load my brush up. Now some of these are just going to be just bud because they haven't really opened up yet. And that's always nice to add those ones in there too, so don't forget. And then some of them are further away. So we're just going to have little dabs like this. Let's add some yellow in there. A bit more yellow. And then we can have another one here. It's going to have some more petals on it. Let's add some more pink to this one. And I'm just going to add a little bit of sap green to this stem. And at the base of this one, it would have a little shadow under it, wouldn't it? I'm going to wash that green out, and I'm going to start adding some more water lilies, because in my made-up fantasy world, I love these. I love to have my own water lily pond someday. Okay, so now I'm envisioning a little portal right here, and I think this is pretty dry. I won't be able to scrape that off, but I'm going to, like you've seen me do in other videos, sometimes if the paint isn't totally set into the canvas yet, I'm able to gently scrape that off, and I could try. I just got this wet. I don't think it's really gonna, I'm able to get a little bit off, but I think what I'm going to do is just come over top here with some white, yellow, and pink. I'm going to make one of my little portals. Maybe I'll do another one right here. Some more yellow. This might dry a little bit darker because I've got that blue and black underneath, so I'm just going to be generous with my white. I'm going to add more highlights. So these mountains back here. We add a little bit more to the moon. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with, let's see, maybe we could add a little, we need a little staircase in here, don't we? Let's just start taking some of this paint off around here, and we'll just use it as a little light for our stairs. I'm going to pull off to this side and then have it change direction and come down here. And maybe we can have a little railing. So we'll do some lines like that. and then right down in here. Something like that. You're going to need to come over top of your stairs a little bit, guys, right here. I know it can be a little bit scary. Okay, I think that looks kind of cute like that. And then maybe we can have, there's a little path that goes back there. So we'll make that flat and then we'll start adding, we'll just start adding a little staircase down in here. It goes right into our little portal in here. Got a light color again. That blue is pretty wet underneath. I need one of my small filbert brushes. So I've got a filbert brush right here. This is a number 4. And I want to create some foliage here. And I'm going to use my sap green. Tapping in. Let's add a little bit here on the side too. Maybe some moss or ivy growing up the tree. And let's not forget about this side. Have a little bit coming around here. It looks kind of cool over top of the neon pink. A little bit like that. Should we make it look like, let's make it look like there's some little vines hanging over, so I'm turning my brush sideways like this. It could look like it's been here a really long time, and there's just all sorts of greenery spilling over the edges. And there's even a little bit. I just think this is pretty to add little bits of green like this in here. Okay, so let's give this a bit of a highlight now. A little bit of yellow and wherever that light would be hitting. So little bits in here, maybe just a little bit on the inside. I know this is going to dry a little bit darker. Very lightly. Now once it's dried, it should be the perfect brightness. I'm just going to wash my brush out, and I want to push off some of this paint up here because I feel like it's making it look a bit too squashy. And I want it to, it just was losing its inviting feeling to me, so I want to bring this up a little bit higher. There, I like that shape better. It's got a bit of brightness right there. And a little bit down in here. A little bit of white and turquoise. I'm going to go back to my fan brush and add a little bit more to this waterfall where it's sort of dried a little bit darker. We can just brighten up that a little bit too. Let's do a little bit of pink, white, and light ultramarine blue. Pull some little vines hanging down, moss, whatever, a little bit. You can tap, and you can also pull. You can even do little scoops like this, and then tap and pull. And a little bit of a purple tinge. I'm just going to dry this off quickly so I can add another layer. Oh, it's still a little bit wet, but I think we can be very careful and pull that over top. See, that's pretty too. It doesn't have to be bright white. You know, you can just add a tinted white. And then let's add some little dabs of bright yellow in here. Let's do it on this one too. A bit here in the water. Just a few more little flowers there. Oh, I know what's missing. Let's add a few lines. And I'm using, this is a very small flat brush, so it's nice and square on the end, you can see. Get some nice little lines. So I'm just adding the indication of a little fairy tale castle back here. I knew something was missing right in here, but I didn't know what. So I'm going to pull some little pointy tops. because I know it's going to dry a little bit darker. I'm going to add a little bit more white. I'm going to paint it sideways for you guys so you can see this better. And then make it sort of blurry there. We can continue up here and make this look a little bit blurry too. Now I apologize for my shaky camera. Every time I've got my camera set up here on the table and I'm painting, and I mentioned this in the last few videos, I'm painting in my kitchen right now because I'm kind of feeling like I need to reorganize my studio. It's feeling a little chaotic lately and it's hard to paint in a chaotic space, so I'm just kind of changing it up and painting in here, and the light's good. I like it in here, and I really need to take the time to go in my studio and organize so I can get back in there and start working on some larger paintings. So I'm just adding little bits of fog in and around this moon, and oh, let's take a little bit of our phthalo and some turquoise and add a little bit of that around here. Just softening a bit. And a little bit of that ultramarine blue. I just want to add just a little bit to the castle there. I'm going to do just like one more thing, I think, and then call this painting done. I've got my small filbert again, and I'm going to take my neon pink with a little bit of white. Mix that up. And then push to have a little scoop of it on the top. So what I want to do is a little highlight here. Maybe goes back there a little bit. We've got a little bit of it highlighted right here, and some of these. I think we just need to do one more thing here though, because I can't see these branches. There should be some branches here. Let's try our ultramarine blue. So just really subtle here. little bit of blending on yellow, turquoise, and white. This just took a little turn. Literally. Maybe we'll have our staircase going up there. That might be kind of fun. Make it smaller, of course. Right, because it's farther away. And a little bit of sap and yellow. A little bit darker. Let's just tap in some, because this is showing up a little bit brighter than the tree. It makes sense to have a bit more brightness in here. Take a little bit of my yellow and white. Just does some little bits of fog and clouds going up here. That look a little bit hazy in there. So we could have another waterfall there if we wanted. Or just keep it as is. I think I'll leave it up to you guys and call this painting all done. Alright, well I had so much fun creating this and I'm happy you guys joined and painted along with me today. Have a wonderful day, you guys. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and I'll see you next time. Bye everybody!